Welcome to Dad Bods, Crab Cakes and Sports, where husky middle-aged men share insight on the latest Baltimore sports news. From the bank to the yard and beyond, we're breaking down the Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. Baltimore's best sports podcast starts now. All right. Hello out there. If you're listening on your way into work on this Thursday morning, or you're hanging in there with us late tonight on Wednesday, welcome into the podcast. We got someone who's a great sub. I like a good cheesesteak, but Jim's a great sub too. Jim's subbing in here for Jason tonight. Say hi to the crowd here, Jim.
Hi, crowd. How are we doing tonight? Great, Jim. Oh, that's awesome.
That's why we love you, Jim. And then, John. Our steady Eddie over here. John, how you doing this evening, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Just got done with my third straight 12-hour workday. That's always good for your health, you know.
Is that like status quo for the car businessman? Is that how that works, or what?
No, not usually. There was a Lincoln, presentation of some sort at another dealership that some people had to go to, and there's only 4 of us at Lincoln. So when 2 of them go, that means that I have to go in on my day off, and they were gone all day. And then yesterday wasn't my day off, but I usually get off at 4 yesterday, and there was only one other guy there, and you can't have one guy at a car dealer by himself. So I got to stay there all day.
Jeez.
But is that so that you don't steal all the cars? Is that why you're not allowed there by yourself?
Exactly. Actually, funny story. There was a car dealer near where we lived in Minnesota where a disgruntled employee quit, then knew the code to get in, and then knew the code to get into the key room. And he went in and took keys and would just randomly take like one car, and it would just like disappear. Nobody knew where it went. And this guy like just did this for like a couple days until they finally caught him on camera, and then the whole thing blew up.
Yeah. Did he go to jail, John?
I assume I don't know. I don't know.
Who knows?
But who knows these days?
It would have been great if he was like, and it was me. No.
That's right. And that guy was me.
Well, and
I never got caught neither. Michael Scott.
Yeah, right. Well, and exciting today. I took in an antique. I took in a vehicle today with a cassette player.
No way.
Yeah, 2005 Nissan Maxima with a 6-disc CD changer and a cassette player.
Is that the last year they made cassette players?
I have no idea. Probably something pretty close to that.
That's funny you say that, John, because my mom, whenever she looks, she's had to buy a couple cars, used usually. She's always looking for something that has a cassette player because she's got a bucket of cassettes that like lives in her truck. And like she lives by these cassettes. She never moved on to CDs. She never got to the digital music. She still lives on her cassette tapes. She had good taste in music. She had Metallica and Def Leppard and that kind of stuff, but it's all on cassette tape.
Yeah, I think the first car I bought had a cassette tape deck and a 6 CD changer or something. But I only used the cassette tape to play my iPod. You remember that the cassette thing with the cord that then went into the headphone jack? You guys remember those?
Yeah, absolutely, I do. And I remember the little armbands you used to run with your iPod on or whatever. Like you slide it in there, and then that was the coolest thing to do back in the day.
Yeah, I don't really run anymore. Jim, how about you?
It's been years. I walk fast. I walk fast now.
Hey, I guess if something was chasing me, I might,
Oh man, people would pay to see that.
If
a gator's chasing you, though, you're not supposed to run straight, right, John? You're supposed to run crookedy.
You're supposed to run like in a crisscross shape, like back and forth.
How fast? Gators. How fast do they run?
I don't know. Should we ask ChatGPT how fast a gator is?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably figure that out because
ChatGPT has been accurate for me today and inaccurate in 2 different ways. The first time I was looking up, we have a nice Jeopardy category tonight on jersey numbers, and it told me that Cal Ripken was number 33 or something like that. So that was a bad ChatGPT moment. Earlier today, I had a I was giving my girls' soccer team, we do weight training in the morning, a little lecture on avoiding complacency. And I was looking up methods to do that. And ChatGPT came up with the whole list that I used with my little speech, and it was perfect. So ChatGPT, not 100% consistent and accurate.
Okay, so alligators on land 11 miles an hour in short sprints. They tire quickly. But in water, they go around 20 miles an hour using their powerful tail for propulsion. So after watching Keaton Mitchell run, I think he would be pretty safe. I think the rest of us might have some problems.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if it's you and Keaton and the Gator, you're in big trouble. So
Yep. Well, you're just gonna be
yeah,
faster than the next slowest guy. You don't got to finish first in the race against the Gator. You just got to finish second to last.
they got tiny little legs, so I could see why they would wear out after a while. Like I have a little bit of tinier legs. I could see, if the long strides versus the tiny strides, I could see that happening.
Well, you know what, Mike? The Orioles didn't wear out tonight. That was for sure. They were like a fine wine in the game tonight, man.
Just like the old
Absolutely.
days.
It was for those of you who may have not seen the game tonight, Orioles with a blowout win. It wasn't a blowout the entire game, right, gentlemen? But I think the final score was 10-1. And all facets of the game kind of showed in a positive light today. We had the hitting, we had the pitching, we had the bullpen. Pretty dominant performance against a really, really good Tigers team. So what's your biggest takeaway from tonight? Is it the pitching, the hitting, the bullpen, the overall execution? John, why don't you start?
Hold on, Mike. I'm having some technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Jim, we're swiveling over to you.
Shift to Jim. No, I think it's nice getting key pieces back. It's nice seeing the team we thought we'd see in the beginning of the year come out and play in the positions that we thought they'd play in. Right? I mean, it was nice. It was like a shot in the arm of last year. Before everything went to shit. I mean, I love having Westbrook in there. I think he's, a certain sort of energy that they miss. And you saw that with Cowser coming back too. So it's nice getting a full team back, and I think it makes the pitching better. Balance isn't just a couple guys; it's a whole team. When the whole team's back, you can see what can happen.
Absolutely. And one of the strengths of this Tigers team really is their balance up and down the lineup. And Zach Eflin tonight, 6 2/3 of 1-run ball. I mean, he pitched very well tonight. So how important, John, is Zach Eflin's stability to this rotation?
I mean, we've been talking about this all year long. The Orioles need a top of the rotation guy who can just go out there and you can count on to give you 6-7 strong innings to kind of save the bullpen and that's kind of the thing too. I think we did just saving the bullpen, but giving them confidence that what, if we score 3 runs on offense, we're going to have an opportunity to win the baseball game. Because if you're up, because if you go up to the plate knowing, God, we gotta get at least 5-6 runs because our pitching just can't stop anybody. Your mindset is completely different than if okay, we need to, if we get 2-3 runs, we have a very good opportunity to win this baseball game. And I think Eflin, knowing that and seeing how he pitched tonight, brings a lot of confidence back into the offense, and then we start getting these nice big runs, and then the mistakes and the balls that weren't dropping start dropping, and we start being able to score runs and do all these great things. And like I didn't text you this, Jim, because I don't have your number, but it was Bark at the Park night tonight, and Jackson Holiday is a beast at Bark at the Park night. He's 6 for 14 with 3 extra base hits and 5 RBIs in Bark in the Park games this year.
Something about those lovey dogs, huh? Just does it for
I
him.
guess.
He knows barks in the background.
So, John, just speaking of the lineup and Jim, you said having Westberg back, it's such a boost to the team. I would think as a pitcher, you're talking about the confidence of the lineup in the pitching. How about the confidence in the pitcher Now, when you're looking up and down the lineup, and instead of Rivera, Kerstad, Mateo at the bottom of the lineup, you're seeing guys like Westberg, Kalzer, Mullins as the bottom of your lineup. That's got to make you feel better as a pitcher, right, Jim?
Oh, absolutely. I think Mia's doing a really good job with the bullpen too. I mean, what's their ERA? 0.96 this month so far. I mean that helps. I mean, they had another great outing today. And it's like it's balanced. That's what it is. Like if you can go out there and have confidence in your hitters, and the hitters can have confidence in the pitchers, everybody's going to play better. And that's what we're seeing. We didn't have the best pitching last year. I mean, we had Burnsy. Yeah, Eflin was a nice addition. Grayson was good for a while, but I know other guys, had their moments, but it wasn't like I mean, we weren't a top 20 rotation last year. I don't think. I mean, we just had a well balanced team. They played for each other. They did just enough to win. They knew what it would take at any cost, and they lost that loving feeling this offseason when injuries or bad acquisitions or stuff just kind of foiled the plan. But now that we're starting to get some of these guys back, I think they're doing a better job managing the bullpen. It's exciting watching our pitchers go deeper. I mean, you can't help but get your hopes up, like maybe we can make it a season after all. But it's only mid-June, right?
So John and Jim's talking to this right now is a dominant performance against a hot Tigers team tonight. What does that do for your confidence in a midseason turnaround? What does that do for your confidence in maybe even just to string together a nice little set of wins here, in mid-June heading towards the All-Star break?
Well, you're getting confidence in your bats. You look at the lineup tonight. Everyone except O'Hearn and Kalzer had 2 hits. So, we're getting confidence on both ends. Where where I was talking before, your pitching breeds confidence into the offense and vice versa. And I think now having a full lineup, as you look up and down, who do you pitch? Who do you pitch to? Who do you pitch around? You pitch around. You pitch around somebody like O'Hearn. Well, you got Westberg. Then you got Kalzer. Lariano's hitting the ball well. So you're having to pitch. I think that's the big thing in the major leagues is that it's the guy who's after you. Is that if you're worried about the guy after, you're going to make mistakes, and big league hitters take advantage of mistakes. And I think that's what's going to lead the Orioles to be getting better as they're healthy, as you see Holiday's becoming the hitter we think he can be. Lariano surprising people, get Mullins hot again. Then you're going to start seeing mistakes to guys like Lariano and things, and they're going to take advantage because they're in the big leagues for a reason.
So a 16 hit effort tonight from the O's, and I can't remember what our max hits this year were, but this has to be close. I know we had 13 in that first game against Seattle on that swing of the road trip, but for us to string 16 hits out and have a performance like this is really encouraging for me personally. I think, obviously they have to face Scooble, tomorrow, which is a tall task, but a lot more confidence coming in off a game like tonight than you would otherwise. Let's say that Casey Mize came in and just completely shut us down. I think they have to come into tomorrow's series finale, the rubber match, with a little bit of confidence. Thoughts on tomorrow's game, boys? Jim, start with you.
Yeah, Scooble's the best pitcher in the game. I don't think there's anybody that can compete with him. I mean, he's on my fantasy team. I know this. So tomorrow I will cheer against them just for the Orioles. But, I think it's going to be tough to get him. We're going to have to get to him early. Like most aces, you want to, get to him early. You don't want him to get comfortable. And
What about pocket aces, Jim? Sometimes you just leave them sitting down on the table, right?
you always with your bullets. Oh yeah, you always got to play those. What? Who's pitching for us tomorrow? I do not know.
We have Dean Kramer, our rock, on the hill tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, yeah, he can go toe to toe with School. Why not? Let's make it a pitching duel. Let's have a hero at the end when we get him out of there. I mean, we gotta have good at bats, right? We gotta work the count, and you know, and and outscore them somehow. I mean, that's what you would say with any ace, right? I mean, get to him early, work the bats, try to get him out of the game as fast as you can.
John, your thoughts?
I think that Scooble, this year they're saying he's working on his curveball, trying to differentiate his curveball more from his slider. And I think the key is going to be to jump on the mistakes. Is you may only get a couple of them, but if you get them, you need to take advantage of them. Make him work. Drive that pitch count up. Work at bats because in my opinion, in the big leagues, and I've heard this from other people, is there's things like some strikeouts that aren't bad strikeouts. You go up there, you work a 8 pitch at bat, 9 pitch at bat, but you end up striking out. That's a good at bat. That's
Yeah.
driving the pitch count up. And I think, if we can get him to drive the pitch count up and then be able to capitalize upon, the couple mistakes you might get with him trying to throw his curveball or an off-speed pitch of some sort, you know, we may have a very good chance tomorrow. But like Jason just said, Kramer has to keep them within striking distance and get to their bullpen. Google doesn't make many mistakes.
Yeah,
All
the more pitches you see, the luckier you get.
Yeah,
100%.
and Dean Kramer, the one thing I like having him going into this matchup, he's shown a propensity to be able to really come in big situations and get a big win for this team in the past. He's done
That's
that
true. That is true.
previously. So if you're going to have a guy that can go, like you said, Jim, toe to toe with Scooble, I think Dean Kramer has the mental makeup to do that. Now, if he executes the pitches, that's a different story. That's a good Tigers lineup out there right now, like I said, from top to bottom. The Orioles, obviously, Scooble being a lefty, right, are going to have probably a more of a righty-heavy lineup. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Laureano and Mayo in there tomorrow. So it might be a little bit different configuration than we had tonight. But I really do like how Mansolino has kind of left the majority of the order kind of in series over and over again. I think that consistency within the batting order has also led to some consistency in the offense.
Yes.
Whereas them playing musical chairs in the batting order previously under Hyde, that was my biggest issue with Hyde.
Yeah.
Where now we know it's going to be Jackson Holiday, it's going to be Gunner, or Adley, Gunner, and then probably O'Hearn in the 4-hole, and then you got some guys that can come into the middle of the lineup like Kowser and you have Westberg back. You got some guys who can hit down a little in the 4, 5, 6, 7 area, and it makes that lineup a lot stronger going into a matchup against a really good pitcher tomorrow. I think obviously the betting odds are probably against the Orioles tomorrow, but it would be awesome to see them come away with a series victory against a really good Tigers team. And then we talked about, John, you made your bet, right? What was your bet? 3-3 in the next 2 series?
Yes, I thought they were going to take yesterday's game. I was a little bit not as sure about tonight's game, and I kind of chalked up tomorrow's game as a loss. But I figured they'd take 1 from the Tigers and then 2 from the Angels.
Right, and Jason had predicted, I think, 2 and 4, and I think he had said the 2 wins are going to come against the Angels. So I think he considered this maybe a sweep. So we got one, Jay. And then Jim, I don't know. What are your thoughts on the rest of the series? I had predicted 4 and 2. I was hopeful that they could get 2 from each of the Angels and the Tigers. Obviously, they have to win a big rubber match tomorrow or sweep the Angels for me to get that. What are your thoughts?
No, I think now you think sweep Angels. Why wouldn't you? And if you win tomorrow, I mean, I can see us going 4-2 in this homestand, and we should definitely win 2 or 3 against the Angels. They're probably the worst team in the AL right now, anyway. I mean, so I hope we can win tomorrow. I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Hopefully it's a pitching duel. Sometimes those are fun if you get the right, pitchers out there and they're fun to watch. I I uh I think we have a good chance. I really do. Like you said, I like that you say Dean was on the mound. I think he's the right guy for the job.
Well, anytime you're reading the good book, and they mention an angel. They're always saying, "Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Fear not." So for me, we have no fear going into that series against the Angels, especially in Camden Yards. So that makes me feel happy to host the Angels. We'll see. They have a healthy Mike Trout who seemed to be doing pretty well here. That kind of scares me. The last time I saw Mike Trout, I talked about this last episode, as he was one of my top ever Major League Baseball players that I've seen live. He made that jumping catch over the wall at Camden Yards. So I have that living in my head over and over again. But hopefully we can exercise those demons this upcoming series.
Did
John,
you
anything you
guys
want to
see?
add?
Yeah, well, speaking of over the fence catches, did you guys see the center fielder for the
Oh, yeah.
A's? Oh my goodness. He
Clark
was
or
he was
something?
he was up to his thighs over the fence, reaching in, grabbing it, and pulling it. And I think he's been in the big league since what, Jim? May 10th or something. And he's
Dude,
already been on Sports Center top 10, I think, 8 times with diving catches, robbing homers and things.
he's won back-to-back defensive players of the week now, I think. I think he just won his third. Yeah, because he crashed in the wall with that one. He robbed another homer, and now this is
Well, that was against us. That one where he
Yeah.
went full speed into the
so like 3 weeks in a row. I think he's defensive player of the week, which
Yeah,
is crazy.
he's
What an athlete.
amazing.
That
Yeah.
that home run rob has to be up there. It has to be up there with Griffey on some of the best ones I've seen. Torrey Hunter had a couple great ones. Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, and he ended up like sitting on the wall, right, and like spinning off of it. It was just a super athletic play all the way around. And the fact that he even got to that ball and then was athletic enough to time his jump and maintain hand-eye coordination to catch it and maintain his balance on the wall. I mean, it was one of the more athletic things I've seen in a long time. And so that guy has got some special defensive tool.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But let's shift gears a little bit, guys, from one striking sport to another. And there is a little golf tournament going to go on here up the road in Pittsburgh area in Oakmont, and it is called the United States Open. And Jim and I are big golfers. John, are you a golfer?
I'll hit a round or two, not very well, but I know which direction to hit it. The one thing I wish I had learned early on in life was that you should play golf opposite of the way you play baseball, because then you'll be a better golfer. Because I play hockey all left-handed, and I can hit a pretty good slap shot left-handed. And if I would just translate that to my golf game, I think I would improve greatly. I would have been the second coming of lefty. Maybe
Well,
not.
a lot of golf instructors would say that your opposite handedness would help you with your golf swing because you get too wristy. And
Yeah.
so to actually a lot of golfers switch opposite when they play, which is interesting because it's a more full body swing.
Well, most of your Canadian golfers are left-handed, and most Canadian hockey players are left-handed too.
Yeah.
We're not in Canada, John. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well,
Canada Open was last weekend.
Yeah, it was. Well, anyway, this little golf tournament, the U.S. Open, is taking place at Oakmont. Jim, have you seen the rough?
My God, dude. Some of the videos I've seen, like Colin Morikawa, Bryson DeChambeau, like Grant Whitaker, like those guys. I think I said his last name right. Oh my gosh, they're it's not just one time. It's a couple times it's taken them to get out of the rough and onto the green. And then even then it doesn't look pretty. The ball goes bleeding through the green like some of my chips look. It's going to be a high scoring affair for sure.
Yeah, and the greens are running what, like 37 million on the stiff meter?
Something like that, yeah.
No, I think it was like 14 and a half or something like that.
But
Something crazy. I saw a video, Jim, too. It was Phil Mickelson warming up by the green, and he was just hitting a few chips.
Yeah.
And Phil might be one of the premier short game players in history, right? And he literally hit 2 balls that did not leave the rough out of 4 swings in a series. And I don't know if it was a video that was patched together, but it looked like it was a series of 4 swings, and 2 of them didn't leave the rough.
A lot of experts think that the winning score is going to be like +6 this year, which is crazy. I think nobody's going to be under par, but a lot of them have, it being like +6. That's how hard it's going to be.
So I assume the betting favorite is Scotty Scheffler coming into the tournament. I didn't look at all the odds, but Scotty, I'm assuming is up there. And Tiger chimed in and said it's going to be a long hitters tournament. I assume, obviously, the further you can hit the ball down the course, when you're hitting out a rough like that, you're going to need more club to kind of get the ball up and out. It's going to help those golfers who can get a little closer to the pin. But obviously, being on the fairway makes a huge difference in this tournament as well. So accuracy with fairways hit and greens and regulation is also going to play a big role in who wins the golf tournament. John, Jim, any dark horse candidates besides Scotty to come out here and maybe play really well in this U.S. Open?
Good, John. What you got?
I don't know. I was reading a few things, and they're throwing names out there like Jordan Spieth at 70-1 was one. Matsuyama at 70-1 they were talking about. But, I mean, like you're saying, it's going to be who keeps it out of the rough. As I was doing the research and things on this, it's everybody's. It could be somebody you don't even expect because they just hit more greens in regulation and hit more fairways, and because you could easily end up, what do they call it? Where you run out of strokes
You
on a
run out
hole.
of strokes.
Yeah, because you can only go so many bogeys over. There's
Well,
a
you run
term
out.
for it.
You run out of balls before you run
Yeah.
out of
Yeah,
strokes.
golf balls is the only way you can run out of anything.
On the tour.
Tin cup style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
But
gonna.
I
You're
can
gonna.
see that.
There's no limit. You're gonna keep, screwing up until you get in the hole, basically.
So
This is a
that's
Fox Hollow. You know?
well, our common golfers, we usually have a double par limit and pick up
Yeah.
and go to try to keep the pace of play. But unfortunately, I'm pretty sure at Oakmont they got to keep rolling.
Oh, I thought it was a rule. I thought golf has so many. I don't play enough, but there's so many rules that I figured had to be a rule that, like, if you're at like 20 strokes or something, they just call it a day.
a mercy rule.
I guess a
They'll just
mercy
pull up,
rule of
They'll
golf.
just pull up the cart and say, "Please leave."
Yes. They only do that, Jim. They only do that when you're too drunk at the course.
Yeah, that's happened to you too. No.
All right, Jim. Who are you? Who are your guys? Who you got this week?
Besides Bryson DeChambeau, who is probably my top choice because he can rush the ball. There are some par three. There's a par three that's almost 300 yards. That's ridiculous. But I love DeChambeau. I love. I'm gonna screw up his name. Agberg or Agberg.
Oberg. Yeah, I think he's
I
going
think,
to have a good week.
I think I'm gonna put money on him. My long shot that I've heard a couple of analysts pick him, which I thought was crazy. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, this guy has been playing well. Is Gary Woodland, and that guy right now is sitting at plus 22,000, which is pretty crazy.
He's a top 12 driver of the golf ball too. He hits the ball really well.
Yeah, that's why everybody kind of likes him as a dark horse, which now I kind of do too. So those three guys I'm looking at. What about you?
So, no, I agree with the Oberg comment. I thought, he hits the ball really well. He's been consistently in it in most of the tournaments this year. He's a guy who can go low. Obviously, low might be even par at this tournament, but he can go low enough to probably, have a chance to win it. I like Rory. I think with the weight lifted, from the Masters, I think this could be a good opportunity for him to feel and play free. He hits the ball a long ways also. I think he's the number 3 driver on tour right now. So he's another guy who hits the ball long. And I like my dark horse is Sepp Straka. He's played really well. He's won a couple tournaments this year. I think he's got an outside shot to win it. So those are the guys that I'm kind of thinking of. But John, anything else to add about Oakmont or the upcoming U.S. Open? John, you're muted, I think.
I basically was just looking at the same guys you were. We all read the same stuff, and it's not. I mean, and like we said, it's just going to end up being a crapshoot if you have one bad hole where you get stuck in the rough. that could just ruin your entire, your entire round, your entire tournament.
All right. So before we move on, then I want you guys, John, can you take notes for us on this? I'd like to get your foursome, and you can repeat players, so we don't have to draft them. So, like, if you want to have the same players I do, that's fine. But let's pick our four guys who we think are going to finish, have the best round altogether. Strokes to par.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
Jim, I'll let you go first and give us your four, and then I'll go, and then John, you can go last. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Arnie Palmer. No, I'm just kidding.
They should be entered into the tournament.
Yeah,
Hey, Greg, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for listening out there, Greg. Greg just chimed in.
I I like. I'm gonna go kind of chalky here. If we could pick any four we want, I mean, why not? You got to pick Scotty. You got to pick. I got to go with Bryson. I'll stay away from a lot of the other top guys. I'll go with Oberg as my third, and I'm gonna throw in. I'm gonna throw in JT. That's my fourth. Justin Thomas.
I like that mix. Jim. Yeah, I think Scotty's got to be in there. So Scotty's going to be on my list as well. And I'm going to go Scotty, Rory. Man, I'm really reaching right now. Scotty, Rory. And then give me Oberg and Straka as my four. All right, John, up to you to pick a four here. Don't make it the identical four to us. That's the only job.
No. I'm going to go with Scotty. I'm going to go with John Rahm. He's at 12-1. I'm going to go with Oberg. Seems pretty good. And I'm going to go with Spieth.
So really, it's just 2-1, 2 versus 2 versus 2.
More or less.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
We all read the same crap. We all watch the same shows. We all listen to the same crap. So you know what? We're all going to be thinking the same way,
And John, just to be clear, this isn't the Oakmont Greens that is in Carroll County, Maryland, that I've played quite a few times. This Oakmont is nasty, and it is going to bring it this weekend. I'm excited to see professional golfers probably look a little bit like the average golfer this weekend, which is kind of, I mean, it sounds, I don't know, it sounds bad to say that, but I really am interested to see what these guys are going to do. I played Bully Rock last weekend, and they hadn't cut the grass in a bit because it's been raining on and off here in Maryland. And that's they play some they played like the Big Ten championship at Bully Rock, so it's a pretty good golf course locally. And the rough was up, but I mean 2-3 inches up, which is hard enough to hit out of. I mean, I think they were talking almost 5 inches of rough in Oakmont. So good luck to the PGA this weekend. I'm excited to watch the tournament. I'll be glued to the TV when I get a chance.
I was gonna say, Frisky, what are you doing for Father's Day? Were you getting treated, spa treatment? What are you guys doing?
Oh, we have sports, man. Father's Day is, let's see, I will be in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. I don't know where that is, but I'm going to find out between now and then on MapQuest. And we're going to be watching some girls lacrosse up in, I think it's near Philly somewhere, or Westchester, up in that area. How about you, Jimbo? Anything going on with your dad or anything for Father's Day?
Yeah, well, we're going to golf in the day before, so that day it's just he's got all these plans throughout the day, and then we're just grilling out and watching golf. That's all he wants to do. So I was like, okay, I'll bring the steaks, and that's what we're going to do.
John?
That's it.
How about you?
I'll probably go to church in the morning, and then I'll just sit and watch the Orioles game in the afternoon, and let my wife or kids cook for me. My in-laws are coming to town on Saturday, so we'll see. We'll see what goes on.
We are doing on Saturday. We're playing golf as well. Every year for the last 10 or 12 years, we've gone into this. They have a father-son scramble up at Tanglewood Manor in PA, outside of Lancaster. And so my dad and I have been going for years. And they give you a little picture, and you play a little scramble, the two of you guys versus other dads and sons. It's a lot of fun. And this year, my son Josh wants to come, so it's kind of cool. So it'll be 3 generations, and we'll we'll
Oh, that
alternate
would be
shots
cool.
and a little threesome. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that on Saturday.
That's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be
Well,
hot.
that leads us into our next segment. These
Well, hang
dads
on,
that
Mike.
we are.
Hang on, Mike. Greg
Uh-oh.
asked, do you know how to use a GPS, Mike, or do you still use the paper map quest?
I got my ABC map book, guys. It's a spiral bound map book. No, I did say. I think Greg is correct in that I did say the word MapQuest, which probably hasn't been used in ages, but it really means Waze or Google Maps or whatever goes into the little phone. That's what I'll use, the old GPS tool.
Oh, okay, we're just making sure, Mike, because if you're still using the maps, I think Greg would suggest or introduce you to your phone. You know,
Jim, you're a dog dad, right? Anything going on there this weekend?
Oh, rather. So I got a border collie who has more energy than the Globetrotter team traveling all over the world every day. No matter how many walks, how many frisbee throws I give this dog, he will literally sit here and look at me like he needs more attention. So I'll probably be going to the park a couple times, throwing about 150 frisbee throws a day, and getting stared at by him when I'm not paying attention, like I am right now.
Oh,
That's just,
so he's going to give you his undivided attention, and he's going to
yeah,
take you to the park. That sounds
yeah.
great.
Yeah, no,
That's
that's what
super
I meant to
nice.
say. I meant to say it like that. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Well, we have a little trivia game here at Dad Bod's Crab Cakes and Sports called Dad Bod's Jeopardy. And it's time for everyone's favorite game show, Dad Bod's Jeopardy. I was the big loser this last rotation, so I become the host for Dad Bod Jeopardy this session. Jim, question.
Yes. If Jason become the host next time,
I don't know. This is a gray area. I'm not sure how this works. I think
I am filling in for
we have to.
So
Yeah, I kind of like where this is going. So yes.
I think Jason. I think you're the sub,
yeah,
and
okay.
Jason.
I just want to know
can,
how much
do it.
effort I need to put into this. So, okay, I got you.
I love it.
I take Venmo. Okay.
Jason, he's lobbying so he doesn't throw it for you. So make sure you help a brother out here.
Yeah.
All right. So the way Jeopardy. Oh gosh, here comes the music. It's back.
Yes, I'll play the music.
All right. Well, I'm no Ken Jennings. I'm no Alex Trebek, but I am here with Dad Bod's Jeopardy. And the way this works is we have 3 categories instead of 6, and we have 3 values at 100, 500, and 1,000 points in each category. If you get it right, you get those points. If you get it wrong, you lose those points. We will keep track of the 3 rounds, and there will be a final question at the end, which is Final Jeopardy, which you can wager up to all of your points. As long as you're in the positive, if you're in the negative, you don't even get to play. And that is how we will throw down. So here are our categories for tonight's Jeopardy game. Jersey Boys. This category has to do with the numbers on the back of the jersey. Our second category is Maryland Made. These players started their career in Maryland. And finally, Draft Day Disappointments. Draft Day Disappointments, and this deals with the NFL.
Oh. Mike, that's a pretty tough category for a Browns fan because you could go,
it's
every
not
year
my fault
since
Jimmy's a Browns fan.
1999.
I didn't make him be a Browns fan. I'm just saying.
It just seems like you're picking topics about the Browns every time I'm on. That's all.
Jim, was your favorite color brown as a kid, or is there another reason you're a Browns fan?
Oh man, that's conversation for another day. How much time you got?
All right, guys. So Jason won. So Jim gets the selection here on the board. We got Jersey Boys, we got Maryland Made, or we got Draft Day Disappointments.
Jersey Boys for 100, Bob. I mean, Mike.
All right, here's the question. The answer, I should say. These 2 Baltimore number 5s led their respective professional baseball and football teams to championships. John.
Brooks Robinson and Joe Flacco.
That is correct.
So So I have to say my name. Okay, I forgot about
Yeah, just so I should have Jim. That's really my fault. I'll take the hit there. It's my
that. Our
fault.
hands, but I forgot.
Should
to
we
say
just
it.
ask the question over again, John? Is that okay with you?
Nope. You're
Just kidding.
Yeah, you can.
All right.
You can.
All right.
Yeah.
So John, you have 100 points. John, you have to help me with the math, okay? I'm a gym
Okay,
teacher. You got to help me with
I
the
have-
math, all right?
I have it right here. Okay, I
Fantastic.
will take the same category for 500.
This loquacious trade acquisition joined the Ravens in 2014, donning number 89 and hauling in 14 touchdowns over 3 seasons.
Jim.
John,
Steve Smith.
Steve Smith Sr. is correct. 500 points to you, John, and still have control of the board.
Let's go for 1,000.
This former Ravens corner donned number 28 from 2001 to 2005. He wore number 24 with the Browns for the remainder of his NFL career.
Oh,
Repeat the question again, please.
This former Ravens corner donned number 28 from 2001 to 2005. He wore number 24 with the Browns for the remainder of his NFL career.
okay, I think I know this.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Doot, doot. Gary Baxter is the corner.
Oh,
Gary
okay.
Baxter. All right. Well,
All right, let's be adventurous. Let's go to the second category you said. Maryland.
I have Maryland made or I have their draft day disappointments.
Let's go to Maryland made for 1,000.
Ooh,
Ooh, big money.
man.
Yeah.
You're going to take me out.
All right. Maryland made for 1,000. College basketball fans know him as a basketball commentator, but this all-time Maryland leader in rebounds played with the Terps in the 1970s while averaging a career double-double.
I'm going to go Jim. Why not?
Jim.
Jane Holiday?
Oh, no. Unfortunately, no.
Thought I'd give it a go. Sorry, Jason.
I have no idea.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Len Elmore. Len Elmore.
Okay. Let's do that category for 500.
Yeah, I got to make my money back.
A star quarterback at the University of Maryland, he won the NFL. He won the NFL MVP in 1988 and led his team to an appearance in
John.
Super Bowl. Jim,
Boomer Esiason.
that is correct.
Back.
Points to Jim.
Back, Jason.
All right, and the last one. Oh wait, you're up,
Yeah,
Jim.
oh yeah, Jim's up. That's right.
All right, let's do it for 100. Let's just get rid of it. Yeah, let's go. Please, Mike.
All right. This shooting guard from Calvert Hall led the Maryland Terrapins to their national championship in 2002.
John. Juan Dixon.
Darn it.
That is correct.
That's, yeah. John just got quicker. Good job, John.
All right. We'll do, what's the final category? Draft day busts. We'll do that
Draft
for 1,000.
day disappointments for 1,000.
Disappointments. Yes.
Coming back now.
All right, for 1,000, a tough one. Drafted number 3 overall from Oregon by the Cincinnati Bengals in 1999, this quarterback amassed only
John.
5 touchdowns.
John. Keely
John.
Smith.
That is correct. 5 touchdowns and 46% completion percentage in his NFL career.
So I gotta get the next two just to get $100 back. Okay, I can do
You
this.
just gotta get the
Did you
next two
guys hear
first.
how bad Achilles Smith was?
Yes.
5 touchdowns and a 46% completion percentage
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
In his
That's really
career
bad.
or the first year?
in his career. Yeah. So,
Okay.
John, the board is yours.
500.
All right. This team literally ran out of time on draft day, allowing other teams to jump ahead of
Jim.
them. It's Jim.
Jacksonville. Jaguars.
Nope.
Oh, shit.
I
Sorry,
didn't finish the question. That would have helped probably.
I probably would have helped.
And steal their pick. They still ended up with Kevin Williams, but the draft room chaos was legendary.
I thought it was Jacksonville. It's not Jacksonville.
They
I
did
don't
have
know.
a faux pas back in that day.
I don't know. I don't know, Mike. We'll just wipe it out. Who was it?
Pittsburgh.
5,
Off
4,
the clock.
Is it
3,
Pittsburgh? No.
2, 1. The Minnesota Vikings.
Okay,
It was the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm
I
pretty sure
wasn't gonna.
Jacksonville
I wasn't
missed
gonna
the
do
pick.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
so the last one for 100.
All right.
Or
Last
can we
clue.
make it 2000? No. Okay.
Ooh.
2000.
Jason wouldn't like that. Jason got the answer too. All right. Jim, Jason's not disappointed in you. He's not. All right. At the 2010 NFL Draft, Denver, 3 picks after snagging future Pro Bowl wideout Demaryius Thomas, acquired the number 25 pick from the Baltimore
John.
Ravens. Go ahead, John.
Tim Tebow.
That is correct. To select the number 25 pick, the 2-time national championship winning quarterback.
Come on.
Tim
But he wasn't.
Tebow.
But Tim Tebow wasn't really like a draft bust. He just didn't get an opportunity.
It was a disappointment, John.
Oh,
It's not a
disappointment.
bust.
Okay.
So Baltimore got the. By the way, Baltimore got the number 43, 70, and 114 picks in return, and they used Ed Dixon and Dennis Pinta for the last 2 of those picks, who helped them obviously win their Super Bowl championship in the 2012 season.
Do you think Tim Tebow just got a bad shake? I mean, what did he do? I always thought like he just was never given a fair chance. What did he do?
won it.
He took
won
Denver
in
to the
Denver
playoffs. Yeah,
He beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs with the Broncos.
with a garbage team.
right. I don't
I mean,
understand.
Peyton Manning basically had the same team and he couldn't win.
I never
Well,
understood.
I mean, he had some pretty good receivers. It's pretty good weapons.
Yeah.
All right, so final Jeopardy, boys. So how many points we got here, John? Give us the rundown.
I have 1,800. Jim has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minus 500.
Minus 500 for Jimmy.
Maybe more.
I'm going to let you participate, Jim, and you are allowed to wager to get your points back, okay? And don't tell Jason we did this, all right?
Okay.
Even though he might be listening. I'm not sure. All right.
Jason commented all the way down the show.
No.
He said, "I believe in you, Jim. Jim.
Raise your
And
hand.
then
Come on.
Raise your hand, Chris."
All right. Final Jeopardy category. You got to write down your wager. Is where it ended.
Hold on.
Where it ended.
Hold on. How much money do I have to wager?
Nothing.
500. You can wager to get your 500 back.
This is good. Yeah, obviously, it's just
John, adjust your wager accordingly.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
All right, you guys good?
Yep.
All right. All right, here is the final Jeopardy clue. 3-time Pro Bowler and 2005 NFL MVP running back Sean Alexander starred for 8 years with the Seattle Seahawks, but played the last season of his career in 2007 with this NFL team. I see the smoke rising, fellas. I see those brains in action. Jason wants to type the clue answer in right now, but he can't because then he'll give it away to John. All right. John, stop the music. We're ready, okay? Thanks, buddy.
Yes.
All right. So, Jim, we're going to go to you first with negative 500.
Oh, my
What do you got?
goodness. Well, first of all, I don't have a pen, so I put it all in my calculator. Okay. I wagered $499.
Oh.
That's right. I'm getting text by Duddy as I do this. And I said, let me see if I can find it. I said
You could just tell us.
Seattle.
Seattle is the incorrect answer.
Yeah, I figured.
The incorrect answer. All right, John, you wagered 0 points. I
0?
can see that.
Yeah.
And may God have mercy on your soul. I award you 0 points. John, what was your answer?
Cardinals.
I can't see that. Cardinals. No, that's also incorrect.
Was it Giants?
Jason, feel free to type it in the chat.
I was going with a trick question there.
It is a team that is no longer called what it was called previously.
Oh, the Redskins.
It is the Washington Redskins.
Huh.
Washington Redskins.
Oh, that's right. I was
from one Washington to the other.
I was
from one
thinking
Washington
the
to the
red.
other.
I was thinking it's the Cardinals because I see him in a red jersey in my mind's eye, but it was actually a Redskins jersey. Okay.
Your mind's eye is colorblind because that's burgundy, not bright red. Bright red. I'm just kidding with you, John.
Okay.
That was a good effort. John, you're our champion. Well done, John. Yeah.
So it wasn't a trick question? I was kind of hoping it was.
So it sounds like Jason has to host next time, and John and I will be.
Yep.
Jason put ref skins, but I'm pretty sure he meant Redskins. So I think he figured it out.
I think the keys on his phone and his thumb is too fat, just like mine. It's too hard. Too hard.
Gosh, that's hilarious. All right, so somebody update me on the NBA game. What's going on tonight,
is
boys?
81-79 in favor of the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
4 minutes left to go in the second half, or in the third quarter. Excuse me.
38 seconds.
So OKC took care of business at home to even the series after game 2, and now Indiana has the next 2 at home. So, Jim, we talked about this a little bit in our last episode. What are your thoughts on the remainder of the series?
So, all right. It was a dominating performance from OKC game 2. I think they came back pissed off that they gave game 1 away, which was an amazing game. And I look at who is the most clutch player on that court. And I know I said the Pacers were going to win in 7 last time, I think. And I'm sticking to it. I think Halliburton is the best player or the most clutch player. I know people will fight me if I say best player, but I think he's the most clutch player on the court. He's the Kobe Bryant on the court. And he's proven that over and over and over again. Why would I go against him at this point?
Yeah, and a lot of times these series that are tight come down to the alpha, right? And if he's the alpha on the court, he's going to have the ball in his hand. It's obvious at the end of every game to make the biggest play. And the teams that win, Jason Tatum was the guy for Boston. You can go down the line to LeBron or to Kobe or Michael Jordan, whoever it is. The teams that win a championship have a go-to guy in the clutch. And these games, I know that you guys said that. I think, John, you said OKC was going to win it, right? And they were going to win the next 2 in Indiana. I think Jason had the same opinion. These games are going to be close, and I think a lot of that comes down to the clutch player. What are your thoughts, John?
Yeah, I think it's. I didn't think they were going to be blowouts, but I think that OKC is still going to take the next. I don't remember if I said next 2 or 1 of 2 in Indiana and then close it out at home, but I think OKC just has a more complete team, more dominant on defense. But
you know who the Pacers remind me of? They remind me of the 2019 Raptors when Kawhi Leonard was on the team. That they remind me exactly like the team. I'm not just saying that because they have the same center. What's his name?
Siakam. Yeah.
Siakam. But maybe I am saying it because they have Siakam. But they just remind me a lot. Underdogs that nobody picked to go to the finals, and nobody picked, to go this far. And I think they got the best player on the court, just like the Raptors did back in 2019 when nobody picked the Raptors to win.
It pains me to root for the Pacers, and I am rooting for the Pacers because of I love the Knicks back in those days. I love the Robert Oakley, the Patrick Ewing, Allen Houston. I love that group of Knicks players that could never break through, and Reggie Miller caused nightmares in my life. Time after time.
You're missing John Starks and Charlie Ward in that starting lineup, by the way.
Absolutely, Starks, Ward. Latrell Sprewell was on the later teams. They had some players, and I really enjoyed that group of players. And I wish they would have gotten their one. And especially with Michael Jordan out for 2 years, I thought they might get one, but they didn't. But anyway, I am turning around now and rooting for the Pacers. Now we'll be remiss not to talk about SGA, right? Because he is the MVP. We talk about alphas. John, you think OKC, is going to go ahead and probably win this thing? I assume SGA is going to have to show up big time in one of these games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's gonna have to take over. Right now, we're tied at 83 apiece with about a minute and a half left in the third. But he's gonna have to show up, and he's gonna have to take over the game because I think, like I said the other day, is OKC's defense is good, but they're gonna need him to just take over one of the games on offense and put the team on his back and just compete. And can they win without him doing that? I think so, but it sure is a heck of a lot easier to win when you got your stud out in front and winning by helping your team win by a lot.
I'm really enjoying that it's two smaller market teams. Like OKC and Indianapolis are not your New York, LA, Chicago, Miami, any of these bigger cities, any of the Texas cities. So I like it, but is it good for the NBA? That's the one thing. I don't feel as much energy around this series as I have around some of the series with Boston or some of these teams in the past. Do you guys feel the lack of buzz around the series, or are you just personally invested and it still feels the same way?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I'm watching it more because of that reason. Neither of these teams have ever won a championship, right? So these cities are going to experience it, one of them, for the first time. And I think it brings in, people, brings old NBA fans back because it's exciting. You got two of the top five players in the NBA facing off for a championship. That's really exciting. And you don't need big cities to cause the drama. I mean, these fans showed up. It's just as loud and noisy in Indianapolis as it is. Well, I don't want to say New York, but I'll say somewhere like LA. I just feel like these two teams probably have the just good teams as a Boston or a LA back in the day, or when they won their championships. I just think it's pretty cool. So I'm on the side that I'm watching because they're two small market teams, and one of them's going to win a championship, and I think that's exciting. And two of the best players are playing.
What are your feelings, John?
Well, I like it because it you're not having this super team. You're not having, LeBron can't win by himself, so he's got to bring, his buddies along.
Yes.
We don't have that, and you don't have that kind of attitude on either of these teams. As again, I don't watch the NBA a ton until like the playoffs or until something's happening. But in watching every one of these games, I'm not seeing the attitudes that you get from LeBron's or the those Warriors teams with Draymond Green and those sorts of things. You're seeing a lot of guys who are playing good basketball, who are working without having somebody with that it's all about me attitude. I mean, he got the MVP, so I mean it is all about him, but in the way that he plays and things, it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, he's like so young. This is his first experience, and I I agree with you. It's like most of their first experience. There are some vets here, but not for the superstars. And it's nice to see that for a change. No, this is me attitude. Let's bring three, top guys together to win a championship. Like that's what drowned out fans. That's what made me stop watching. I was like, oh, yeah, oh hum, the same teams every year, the big market teams, just like in baseball. It's annoying. So I agree
Well,
with
yeah,
you.
and I couldn't tell you, Jim, what team Kevin Durant's on right now, or where, you know, there have been Russell Westbrook. There have been some of these free agents that just hop from place to place to place, and it's hard to even tell sometimes what team
Yeah.
they're on anymore. I miss the day. I miss the day. I sound like an old man. I miss the good old days where you knew what team your player was on, and they were there for their entire career. But I know that's not how the money works today. But like you said, at least these young guys early on in their career are sticking with their team, and they're that makes it exciting to watch and to see them grow with their team a little bit, and to see which one's going to come out on top and have an NBA championship early in their career. I think that's really awesome. Hey, if you guys are enjoying what you're listening to, please like us, follow us on Facebook at Dad Crab Cakes and Sports. Give us a like and a follow. A 5-star review would be excellent on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Really appreciate you out there listening tonight. Greg and Jason, all those guys online, appreciate you all. Let's shift gears real quick, guys. Let's talk a little bit of NFL news. Jair Alexander was cut by the Green Bay Packers this week. He has been oft injured over the past couple seasons, probably spent more time or as much time off the field as he has on the field. Obviously, there's no questioning the talent of Jair Alexander overall when he's healthy, but his ability to stay healthy has obviously been an issue. With that said, we'd like to paint everything with a purple brush around here, Jim. Do you think the Ravens, or let's say the Browns, anybody who has an NFL contender has an interest, obviously, in Jair Alexander? What are the pitfalls? What are the advantages? And do the Ravens even have the means to sign Jair Alexander? John, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I don't know what he's gonna expect. It's gonna be a difficult thing, I think, to bring him in just because of cap space. I think he has all the talent in the world. I think he's a first round cornerback for a reason, defensive back for a reason, and I just think he's just kind of gotten a bad shake of things with the injuries and whatnot. Is that I was just seeing something, but I don't know if it's true. Jair Alexander to the Bills. I don't know. I'll have to look this up.
Jim, what are your thoughts while we're waiting for John's breaking news?
As a Browns fan, looking at this, I cringe because you guys always manage to get these players, and he seems like he'd be a Raven in my eyes. I mean, he fits a need you have, right? Isn't that why you guys are all talking about it? Don't you need a cornerback?
Yeah, I mean, we signed Awuzie from Tennessee to play opposite of Nate Wiggins, but obviously, if we play the Bengals, I have a lot of fear in my heart, going up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins with Awuzie on the field. So if we were to upgrade there at that other cornerback position, I think that would be super helpful.
Okay, so here's what I found out. The Bills were trying to get him in a trade from Green Bay early in the offseason. Then they backed off. They signed a couple. I don't have them in front of me who the names were, but they signed a couple cornerbacks, and so evidently they're interested in him now. But I think if he's not going to have, like in Baltimore, he's not going to have to be an every down cornerback. He's not going to have to be that guy. We have that guy or those guys in Wiggins and in Humphrey. He can come in as that third cornerback, as that fourth cornerback, and sort of, not put pressure on himself, and hopefully not playing as many downs and that things may help with some of those injury concerns and whatnot.
Well, the Ravens were also interested in Alexander at the trade deadline last year. So they've also probably had some preliminary talks originally with Green Bay as well. So they've shown interest. John Harbaugh was asked today in his press conference a little bit about, are you happy with the pieces in place? And of course, he's always going to talk up his team. But he said, we still need to turn over every stone, and the offseason is not over yet. So to me, that hints to the fact that the Ravens aren't necessarily done yet in the offseason. If you look at their cap space, this comes from Brian McFarland at Ravens salary cap. With Williams and Tucker now removed from the Ravens salary cap after the June 1st cuts, and with a pending processing of Pierce's retirement, which should happen soon, create a roster spot for John Jenkins signing, the Ravens are now 18.488 under the cap, which, I mean, that also doesn't account for some of the in-season, room that they must keep open, and they're thinking really they're about 5 or 6 over the cap when you consider all the different in-season amounts necessary for practice squad and if there's an injury on your squad, that kind of stuff. So it's a tough, tight fit, I would think. It would have to be a 1-year deal, I would assume, for both sides. I think Alexander would want to approve it kind of deal so he can go get his next big contract. But I think it's not impossible, and it certainly fits a need. Jim? Any last thoughts on that, or any? Did the Browns have a shot at this kind of thing? I know you got Denzel Ward. What is this cornerback situation in Cleveland?
Well, in Cleveland, I think the hype is all around the quarterbacks, and trying to figure out who's the ranking from 1 to 5 or 15 or however many they have, and that's the only videos I ever see about them. I mean, our quarterbacks are pretty healthy. They should come in. I mean, I say that now, but you know, uh, you never know what's going to happen as time goes on. Sure, I'll take another quarterback. Send them to the Browns to die like all the others. I'll probably. I mean, I look at it like this. If I was a player on a free agency, there has to be one team in my mind. I'm like, oh, please, God, don't send me there. Just don't send me to Cleveland. You know, and I hate saying it about a team that I love, but it's like they time and time again disappoint. So I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but no, I don't
No.
really see them signing him so much because there's other positions that we need more than defensive back.
And so that's a great segue for the question I have for you, John. Is yeah, Jair Alexander would be a good fit here in the defensive backfield for Baltimore, but we are pretty strong in the defensive backfield. It would kind of be like a little bit like gravy there for the Ravens. Is there an area of need that they need to address otherwise, or is that money well spent on Jair Alexander? Where do you think the Ravens should go if they have some money to spend here at this point in the offseason?
I think defensive back is probably where we need to go.
Hmm.
I think we need to go with more of a safety. I think we got a couple cornerbacks, um, who can fill those other roles that we talked about it last time or 2 times ago or 3 times ago or 4 times ago. I don't remember about Jalen Ramsey, about moving him back into like a sort of Charles Woodson style safety role. I think that's what they need more so than a kind of a prototypical cover cornerback like Alexander. Unless Alexander's willing to go back to the safety spot, at which point I would be all for either him or Ramsey in that safety spot.
Yes, and with news out of OTA that Bo Braid turned an ankle today, I'm pretty sure out there at practice. Sanusi Kane, they said looked really good. Obviously, they're all kind of pumping the brakes a little bit, saying he's young, still got a lot to learn. But there are some young guys who could possibly step up into that safety spot. But make a good point, John. And if it's a choice between Ramsey and Jair Alexander, again, you can sign Jair Alexander without having to give up anything besides financial compensation. You don't have to give up a fifth or sixth or seventh, whatever it would take to get Ramsey into Baltimore. So I think that's probably a consideration as well. But you're right, John. I think Ramsey could possibly be a good fit there as a taller guy who can transition like Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson to a safety spot. Dion, like you said, late in his career as well.
Hey, Jim, I got a question for you about the Brownies. I was
Yep.
watching Flacco today in his press conference. Did you see the press conference?
No, I didn't.
He goes something to the effect of these young guys are all complaining about practices. And he goes, they don't even know what a two a day is.
Hmm.
He goes, with all the rules now, when I started my career, I was doing, 2 hours a day or 2 practices a day for 2 or 3 hours plus everything else. They were hitting me. I was getting hit by Ray Lewis and all these things. These young guys don't know don't know of anything to complain about.
Yeah, I
What do
saw.
you think about that quarterback room in the quarterback room in Cleveland?
Yeah, I think it's going to play out how everybody thinks it is. I think Joe Flacco is going to be the starter day one. We have a rough schedule. We might be 1-7, by our bye. At which point I can see them shifting to you know Sanders or Gilbert or doing like a flex play on both to try to try them out for next year's draft. So we can see if there's any takers to trade for one of them. I mean, I think that's how the season would play out. They're definitely not going to start a rookie right off the bat. But to answer your question with what Joe Flacco was saying, that resonates with a lot of vets. I know um, Aaron Rodgers was speaking that same basically the same thing. He was saying the same thing about how OTAs and preseason workouts are these days. 2 days. There aren't any anymore. It's just they go so easy on these guys now.
Jim, you talked about Aaron Rodgers, and we talked about it a little bit last show. As a Browns fan, what do you think of Aaron Rodgers in the division in the AFC North now with the Steelers? How does that change the outlook when you guys have to play them twice a year? Does that strike fear in your heart, or how does that make you feel?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Frisky. I've been wanting to talk about this. I think ever since the Pittsburgh Steelers picked up Aaron Rodgers, the Browns might now win 5 games, not 4 this year. They might even finish third in the division this year, and the Steelers might come in last. That's how much confidence I have that Aaron Rodgers, isn't a complete like just wash at this point in his career. I think he's done. I think the Steelers made a bad signing. I don't think he'll be quarterback by week 5. You know, I think they're going to move on to whatever Rudolph or whatever other guy they have there. You
I want some of the other reindeers, Donner, Blitzen,
yeah,
somebody.
somebody. But no, yeah, I'm actually happy about it. I'm like, oh man, Steelers might have the first losing season in a long time. This is great.
So I'm not quite as negative on Aaron Rodgers as you are, but I do think his true colors are going to show at some point this season. And Jason talked about this last episode about how he's come trying to grab this receiver and bring in this offensive coordinator, and that's how he's kind of run the show in the past, and that's not how Pittsburgh operates. So I'll be curious to see how that goes.
You might be on something there because like look at Russell Wilson and what he had kind of a rejuvenation in Pittsburgh under Tomlin. Maybe he can bring out the best of Aaron Rodgers again. I just think Aaron Rodgers is a different kind of personality, and I think they're going to clash big time because they both got that it's my team type of personality.
Yeah, and I think the best thing they did was to get Pickens out of that wide receiver room before they brought in Rodgers, because that seemed like about as volatile situation as you could possibly have. John, any thoughts on Aaron? We talked last week.
Yeah, not anything real beyond what we talked about last week. I got at my dealer. There's a handful of guys who are Steelers fans, and they're like, "Yeah, there just isn't any other option out there, really. I mean, this is the best of the worst case scenario." So we'll let you guys win for 1 year.
Well, while we're on the topic of quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson's getting some more flack for not being at OTAs. From the national pundits more so than the locals. John, what are your thoughts? Is Lamar getting criticism that is deserved, or is it just a little bit of piling on Lamar or unfair? I know Kevin Ostreicher has spoken several times on his Locked on Ravens podcast about how he feels like the criticism of the Ravens is a bit unfair with Lamar relative to Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow. Like, he gets a little more heat than those guys. What are your thoughts?
I'm not worried about it. I think it's just blowing smoke. They're always trying to find something on Lamar, it seems like. There's always something. But I think once training camp comes around, he'll be just fine. He's out there working out by himself. I've seen the videos of him down in Florida doing his thing, whatever. And he was there for the other OTAs closer to the draft or right after the draft. So, I don't think it's just they're just blowing smoke. There's no reason for him to be there unless he wants to be, because he's doing his thing, and I think he's going to be ready to play come July when training camp opens, and then first week of the season he'll be God willing and don't get any injuries, he'll be ready to go.
John, and my feeling on the whole thing is I don't know, like, I don't know that it's unfair the way he's criticized. I just think when you're the best player in the NFL, you just get a little bit more spotlight that comes with it, and that includes the good and the bad. And so whenever there's anything that happens with, a top 2-3 player in the NFL, whatever it is, the media is going to make a big deal out of something, whether it's something or not. So I'm not on the Kevin train where I feel like he's getting it relative to Burrow or any of those guys. I just think that honestly, I think he's better than those guys as a player. I don't know if our team is better than those guys necessarily. So he just gets that flag. Jim, I'd be curious to hear your perspective because obviously you're not a Ravens fan, but you watch Lamar play probably. So what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Yeah, what are we talking about here? I mean, he's been in the league, what, 7 years now, right? He's a vet. He knows what he needs to do to get ready for the season. He'll be ready. He's right. Every Raven fan, say it with me. He should have won the MVP last year, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
what are we talking about here? This guy knows what he's doing. Get off his back. You're just jelly. That's all. You're haters. You know, this guy knows what he's doing. Back off. Leave him alone. Let him do his thing, and he'll come in crushing everybody in the regular season. There. Is that what you want to hear me say? Are you guys happy? Are you not entertained?
Oh, Jim. One of these years, the Browns are going to rise from the ashes like a phoenix. And that will be your glory. It will be so much more exciting for you because of what you've experienced over the course of the last 2 decades
You
that it
guys,
will just be that we won't even understand how glorious it will be.
I remember being like 20 years old, and my dad, I don't know, he's probably my age, maybe a little older, and he was telling me, he's like, "Son, I don't think I'm ever gonna see a Browns Super Bowl." And I was like, "Dad, you're crazy. Come on, you know, sure they will. Probably the next 10 years. Who knows?" Now it's been 20 years, 25 years since that time, and now I'm thinking I might not ever see a Browns Super Bowl.
Well,
You know,
Jason chimed in, mountain out of a molehill. If he tears his ACL or Achilles in OTAs, these same people would be calling him out for that. So I think he's on board with us that it's nothing really. It's just we need to make some news. It's the off season, yada yada,
oh,
and I would
good,
agree with Jason on that
good. I
front.
filled in for Jason there. Good, yeah, good.
I think John's saying something. His
Okay.
lips are moving, but his mic's not on.
Hey, Jim, are you ever going to see a Browns quarterback start more than like 35 games in his entire career with the team?
We almost did,
That
and then we were like, "Oh wait, he got us to the playoffs. Let's get rid of him." You know, Baker Mayfield is now ranked the top quarterback by a lot of rankings I've seen in the NFC. Like a lot of people have him above Jalen Hurts, above Goff, above Stafford, or whatever. There's not many great quarterbacks in the NFC above Love. They have Baker ranked number one. Do you guys agree with that?
I mean, I've seen him play a couple times. I mean, is he like a Lamar caliber player? Absolutely not. But is he a very good, solid starting NFL quarterback who, if it had been put in the right situation to start with, been successful? Absolutely. I think he's up there and at least the top five in the NFC. Because like you said, Jim, there's not, AFC. You got Jackson and Mahomes and Allen
Burrow.
and Burrow, right? And Herbert, who I don't think Herbert's in that same class, but a lot of the people say that. But the NFC, who do you got? You don't have that. You have Hertz, and then you have the rest.
Yeah, you could throw.
Well,
You could try to say Love is up there, but I mean, I don't know.
love is a
What's
battlefield. Pat
yeah,
Benatar said love is a battlefield. So
exactly.
I I think that it's just so quarterback heavy in the AFC. John, you just listed all those quarterbacks, and CJ Stroud. I would even put him probably above Baker Mayfield. There's 6 or 7 quarterbacks in the AFC that I would list over most of those in the NFC. That doesn't mean they can't win. They have some good teams in the NFC. Jaden Daniels obviously is up and coming. You've got Jared Goff, doing what he's doing in Detroit. You've got Purdy in San Francisco. I mean, there's some good quarterbacks, but I feel like they're all just a step below.
They're all
And I would
Baker
lump Baker.
Mayfields, right?
Yeah,
They're all
I would lump
level.
Baker in there with all those guys. They're all kind of you can win with those guys. They can win you games, but they're not superstars.
I guess you put Jalen Hurts at the top because of what he has done, and what he can do. I mean, he's a guy he's a clutch quarterback. So he'd be number one, and then like 2 through what 7 or 8, it's all lumped together basically.
Similar, right?
Well, and here's the thing is, guys like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Mahomes could win you games by themselves with far superior talent. I think that a guy like Baker can't do that. Baker needs to have the Godwins and the Evans around him to help to be able to take over a game and win a game.
Da- Jason says Daniels too. I forgot about
Yeah,
Daniels.
Daniels and Hurts. No, yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean Baker had Jarvis Landry and the two else and Odell, right? And do you have them
I'll,
in Cleveland, Jim?
I'll tell you. I'll
Mm,
tell you my feeling on Jaden Daniels. I love the player. I hope he wins MVP of the league. I'm a huge Commanders fan this year since the Browns are probably going to suck. So, with that said, he's going into his sophomore season, right? Is it his sophomore season?
yes, yes.
Yes.
We all know what happens to quarterbacks when that happens, and the stats that he put up were not that great till the fourth quarter of a lot of his games. Is he a clutch quarterback? Do people love his theatrics in the last seconds of the games? Is that why they're praising him and his rookie cards are so much more expensive and people are all about Jaden Daniels over like a Caleb Williams? I think so because he could win the big games, but I think he also had the better coach and better team around him at the time too. So I need another prove it year out of him before I put him one or two or above a vet who I think could lead a team further in the playoffs. So I hope he does. I hope he comes in back his sophomore year and completely destroys the league and wins MVP. I think that'd be awesome.
Jason, you made a good point. Lamar Jackson won an MVP in his sophomore season, but I mean, he also didn't play, half of his rookie season really. So it was a little different. And I think Jaden Daniels was kind of handled with kid gloves early on last year. Like they didn't really let him unleash. And then as the season went along, they realized, hey, we got something real here. And they let him start throwing to Terry and they let him start throwing the ball a little bit more. And their offense evolved into what it was, making it to the NFC Championship game. But Jim, I wouldn't be surprised if he took a step backwards this year. But I am interested to see if he's the next Lamar Jackson, or is he going to do the CJ
Right.
Stroud thing where he takes a step or two back?
I feel like it's either going to be a Stroud thing or a Jackson thing, and I'm open as Jackson. I think that'd be a pretty cool Super Bowl, even though I'm going to wash my mouth out after I say that. But yeah, I can see that.
All
Hey,
right, guys. Well, John, you got one more thing?
I was gonna say one thing, Jim. Maybe we should do some bets on this football season and the
Yeah.
Browns. Maybe we should get you in some Ravens gear. How
Oh,
about
woo, woo, woo. How many points you give me?
that?
We even
over
the playing field
over.
first.
Hey, how about over or under 0 wins?
No, I want points. I want points. Games. My brother-in-law used to make this bet with me back when they were sucky again. Which, I know they weren't as sucky the last couple of years, but we would bet the first game, and he'd always give me points, and it went about even. Half the years I dress him up like a dog in the Browns dog pen, and half the years he dressed me up in ugly black and purple. But for the next game, for the next Browns and Ravens game, the second one. But I don't mind doing a bet like that. I mean, just tell me the points. How many?
I can respect that, Jim. And you know what? It's always a battle. I don't care. An AFC North game is always going to be tight for the most part. Once in a while, there's a blowout in the series, but for the most part, it's always going to be a battle, especially in Cleveland. That's always a tough game for Baltimore. So something weird about that lake that we struggle out there. So I'm sure it'll be a tough matchup. Well,
Finals right now 107 to 100 in favor of the Pacers with 4 minutes left to go in the game.
Yep.
okay. Can OKC make a Pacer-like comeback? Pacers have been known for that this playoff season. So, hey,
Absolutely.
so we got to get us to our last segment here, boys, and that is Blast from the Past and O's version. Do you guys have somebody ready to go?
Absolutely.
No, but I can real quick.
No, no big deal. So you're welcome to, Jim, if you want to, while John's going, and I've got a guy too. So, and it's up to you if you'd like to do that. You can hop on. So, John, Blast from the Past list for everyone listening is each of us will choose a former Orioles player from sometime in, I don't know, the last 25, 30 years that we remember and that maybe wasn't a core player or maybe isn't the one that comes right to your mind. And it kind of jogs our memories on players that play for the O's. So we'll just use some clues to describe that player and try to guess them. So, John, if you don't mind going first.
I'll go first. I had two guys, and one guy. And I should just do this other guy just because Jason's not here. Because Jason gets mad when I pick people who were like on the Orioles for a month and then get traded. But no, we'll we'll do this gentleman. This gentleman was born October 28th, 1966 in the Dominican Republic. He was originally signed by the Los Angeles Dodgers, an amateur free agent, and traded to the Blue Jays for Mike Sharperson. In his 3 seasons for the Blue Jays, he went 40-11 with a 3.28 ERA. He won the World Series in 92 and 93. Okay?
Is it Juan Guzman?
Yes.
Wow.
You want my other one? He's fun. This one's...
Go ahead. Jim, do you have one? We'll have John do two if you don't have one keyed up.
Tell John to do one. That's fine.
Go ahead, John. You do a second one tonight.
Okay, let me find which tab I have it in. I have about 50 tabs open here.
I want to visit you at the bar if you're going to do that.
Yeah. All right. So this player played for the White Sox, the Orioles, the Braves, and the Devil Rays. Okay. He won Rookie of the Year in the American League in 1985, becoming just the third rookie shortstop in Major League history to win a fielding title. He is best known as a manager for the Chicago White Sox.
Ozzie
Yes, sir.
Darn it. I knew that. You got to raise your hand. You got to say Mike. I actually knew that one.
Yeah, he only played for the Orioles for like a couple weeks. And they dealt him. So,
all right. So I will go next. So this player played in MLB for 12 seasons and for 8 different teams. Originally with the New York Mets, and then the Pirates, the Devil Rays, Astros, Orioles, Rockies, Phillies, and Cardinals, making their MLB debut on May 16th, 2002 with the New York Mets. How we doing?
I missed the first part.
All right. He was a Met first. All right. He primarily played first and third base, but also saw some time at second base. Batted right and threw right. In 2010, as a member of the Baltimore Orioles, he was the All-Star selection for Baltimore.
Oh, wait.
in what year?
2010. Put your fingers. Show me your church hands. Show me your hallelujah hands. Yeah. Thank you.
Come on.
All right. He concluded his MLB career with batting .261 with 1,170 hits and 169 homers, batting in 594 runs. He had a promising rookie campaign in 2003 with the Mets, setting several franchise rookie records for hits, doubles, extra base hits, and at-bats. He displayed increased power as his career progressed, hitting an average of 20 home runs every 162 games. His last appearance was on July 5th, 2013 with the St. Louis Cardinals. After his playing career, he signed with a minor league deal with the Miami Marlins in 2014, but was released before the season began.
You said primarily a first and third baseman who played second base?
Jason knows who it is, not to make you all feel disappointed in yourselves.
Well, Jason knows all these.
Yeah, Jason
He does.
I should know it though. First baseman.
He has let's see.
2010.
He has a nickname that has something to do with fake hair.
Toupee.
Yeah.
No, not toupee.
Wigwam? No, I don't know.
Close. That was close.
Wig. Oh, what's his name?
Jason, help John out. Can you just type it in the chat?
Wig.
Just type in chat, Jay.
Tat JPT.
Yeah.
There it is.
Ty Wigington. Oh, yes.
Ty Wigington,
We got him from
former
Tampa
Oriole All-Star. Yeah, he was on Tampa.
I think we do him before. I think we're really starting to repeat people because I think I did. Jason said I did one of these guys. I did Juan Guzman before.
Yeah. Well, I was a name from the past. If you guys remember, that was in the dark days of Orioles history.
The poopy years, as Jason.
The poopy years, as Jason refers to them as. The poopy years.
Born
Well,
in. I got one. Born in November 27th, 1961. He was a first baseman who played from 1987 to 1994. He's currently a scout of the Baltimore Orioles. I'm not going to tell you his nickname yet. Nothing? Nobody?
Not yet.
So what teams? What teams did he play for?
Oh, I guess you want me to say that. He played for New York Mets, Pittsburgh Pirates, Baltimore Orioles from 1989 to 1992, Cincinnati Reds, Cleveland Indians, and the Montreal Expos in 94. That's when he finished his career. He batted right, threw right. Yeah, all right, we're cooking.
We're cooking.
This is a cool stat. He had a game-winning double scoring Cal Ripken Jr. on June 17th, 1991, and it's shown in the Oscar-nominated movie A Few Good Men.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
So he was a first baseman between 89 and 92 for the Orioles?
He played for the Orioles 89 92. Yep.
So it would have to be Milligan or Horn, one of those guys.
For $1 million, which one are you going with?
Give me Sam Horn.
It's Randy Milligan.
Oh, so close. I don't have $1 million anymore.
If
sad.
I had $1 million.
I think I did Sam Horn last time.
Bare naked ladies over there.
Yes, sir.
I'd be rich.
Thanks for hopping in and doing that, Jim. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
At least I could do.
Hey, it was great having you on again tonight, Jim. You fill in admirably for Jason. You really do. Like, there are some things that are just premier about you and what you do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you know what? I don't care what you say behind my back. It's all about what you say to my face. That's all that matters.
Well, you're a Browns fan. There's not much we can say to hurt your feelings.
No, that's true.
The fumble, the drive.
I'm in good practice, especially the Orioles sucking lately too. Yeah.
All right, looks like Indiana is going to win. It's 112 to 104 with 1 minute and 9 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And they got called for a technical or a
Indiana
flagrant.
did?
A flagrant basically tackled the Thunder guy from behind.
Why?
And then they converted. I don't know. Then they converted it, but then it just continues to run away.
Oh, this is still anybody's game. There's a lot of time left.
Pops Lynch would be going wild right now. He would just and Mandy Pandy Mother Bear and all over the place. Wonder what's happening. Well,
I'm sure he would.
Is there anything you guys want to add before we wrap tonight?
Not at all.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jim, for joining us. I appreciate you. John, well done as always. I'm going to wrap this up for this episode of Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports. Thanks for joining us this evening. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're at it, please leave us a review. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Be sure to follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes action, memes, and bad sports takes. You can find us at dadbods_crabcakes_sports on Instagram and at dadbods crabcakes and sports on our Facebook page. If you have a question or topic you'd like us to cover, please hit us up at dadbodscrabcakesandsports@gmail.com. You never know, we might just shout you out in our next episode. But until next time, keep rocking those dad bods, eating those crab cakes, and never miss the game. See you later, folks.
Adios.